Hello and welcome to another edition of the Advisicon webinar series. Thanks for joining us for Next Generation Project Management and the Microsoft Power Platform. Today's presentation is brought to you by Advisicon, where we help you with tools and training to maximize your impact, productivity, and purpose. My name is David Hogan, the director of Advisicon's Academy, and I am excited to be your guide today. Have you been hearing talk for a while now about Microsoft Power Platform, but still wondering what it does and how it transforms your work? Well, if so, this webinar is designed especially for you. Early in my career as a consultant and application developer, I ran into a common challenge among teams at high-tech companies, large healthcare providers, and all types of other enterprises. They would often have an enterprise system that collected a lot of data from different teams, but they didn't share very much of that data. And when it did come out to the teams, it was usually in the form of views that were very restrictive or reports. At a team level, they had limited autonomy for creating systems or innovations that helped them deliver a better client experience. Because the data was so limited, they would often rekey data from their company's enterprise system or have to import it. And then, of course, it wouldn't really be in real time. And they were doing a lot of duplicating of efforts. It was often challenging to get IT expertise to support and build what they needed in order to deliver their best customer experience. And so, of course, it was a source of great frustration. Why Power Platform, and why might it be the answer to this challenge? The Power Platform is a business application ecosystem. And instead of using professional developers, it allows teams to build their own low-code solutions, being citizen developers, as it were, leveraging their expertise in a certain subject to build applications more easily. Of course, this helps them move with greater velocity and helps them to build a better competitive advantage. In addition to that, it allows them to integrate their solution with data all across their particular enterprise. So what is the Microsoft Power Platform? Well, as you can see here, it consists of a number of components and several items that are underpinning or supporting those components. As you see across the top here, Power BI for business analytics, Power Apps for building low-code business applications, Power Automate that allows us to automate business processes, Power Virtual Agents for building chatbots, and a new addition to the family that many people don't even know about, Power Pages, which allows us to build external-facing websites that are connected to the Power Platform. Underpinning these elements are these three items here. First, data connectors. At the publication of this particular presentation, I believe there are right now about 600 or more data connectors, allowing the Power Platform to connect to many, many different systems. These include things like QuickBooks, Salesforce, ERP systems, Microsoft Dynamics, even MailChimp and other CRM systems. Then we have the AI Builder, which allows us to incorporate artificial intelligence into solutions built on the Power Platform. It comes with many pre-built AI processes, such as scanning documents and being able to extract identity information. But you can also build custom AI processes. For example, data scientists have built processes that can scan an X-ray image and tell you whether or not a person has pneumonia. And these types of things can be incorporated into your Power Platform solutions. And finally, the Dataverse. While you do have options for storing and managing data through connectors, Microsoft Dataverse is the native database for the Power Platform. It stores all different types of information, workflows, virtual agents, data application information, BI reporting, and so on. It is built on Azure, so it doesn't require code to manage it or to secure it. And of course, it is entirely scalable, so you never have to worry about running out of space or room within your application. Let's take a moment and just look at the Dataverse elements. Here inside of Power Apps, you see this item here on the ribbon. It says Dataverse. And under the Dataverse, it lists a variety of components and elements. And I'm just going to click here on tables. You can see that already in the system, before I have even built anything, there are a variety of tables already available to me across my organization. So when I'm building my own data app, I can access data from across the company or the organization and incorporate that information into my solution without having to build it over again or do any importing or syncing. It's outstanding. The first of the components that we want to look at today is Power BI. Power BI is a business analytics tool. It allows us to put data-driven insights into everyone's hands to inform better and faster decisions. You can convert that data into visualizations for a more intuitive understanding of your organization's operation and impact. For example, as you see on the screen here is a dashboard for a project to measure key performance indicators. It allows us to monitor indicators easily to manage project risks and to prevent catastrophic failures. You can integrate your project data easily across the organization. You can even integrate Power BI with machines. I've seen examples of being able to connect Power BI to manufacturing operations where machines are feeding back information that tells us if they are operating properly. And so sitting at a computer, you can see how all the machines are performing. You should note that there are 3 different license levels for Power BI. First is the free application or the free license, which allows you to build Power BI reports and dashboards for your own use, but it doesn't allow you to publish them for others to look at. To have that capability, you will need the Pro or the Premium version. It should be noted that these Pro and Premium versions sometimes come with other packages that you might have purchased, such as Microsoft Dynamics 365. So you'll need to check with your administrator maybe to understand which license you have available to you. So here are the building blocks of Power BI. The first thing that we're concerned about in working with Power BI is data sets. Where is the data coming from that will be utilized within our reports? And as you can see here, there are many, many different types of data sets. Here you can see represented Microsoft Project for the Web, QuickBooks, Microsoft SQL Server, Excel, different types of databases, and even from web pages on the internet. So as I said before, there are over 600 different options for connectors right now to connect to different types of data sets. Now those data sets then become connected to reports, and we can create reports that have tiles or what we call visualizations that are tied to those data sets. Typically, a report is centered around a certain function or area of our organization. For example, you might have reports about human resources or production or marketing and sales and things such as that. Now, in addition to reports, we also have the ability to create dashboards. Now, you might notice that they look a lot alike, but there is a distinct difference. Dashboards are able to incorporate visualizations or tiles from multiple reports. If you want to be able to build a dashboard that accesses information from marketing and human resources and production, you're able to create a dashboard that borrows tiles or pins tiles and visualizations from multiple reports. So dashboards are extremely powerful. So we're going to take just a moment to see an example of a Power BI report. I'm going to open the Power BI desktop. And you'll notice here, as I mentioned, that the first thing it wants to know is where's the data that you're going to use to create this report. So I'm going to click here on Get Data. And for today, I'm going to choose something from a web page. I'm actually going to jump out to the web and grab some information. Now, my family and I have been planning a trip to Ireland. And along the way on Wikipedia, I found this list of Irish counties and population. And I'm going to use this information in my report. So I'm going to copy this URL and come back to Power BI and tell it where to find that web page. Now, Power BI has been able to scan that particular web page, and it's noted several collections of data that could be scraped off that page. And I'm just going to select this first table, And here, of course, is the list of counties and populations as I was hoping for. But I want to transform the data because there are some extra pieces of information I don't need here. So I'm going to select Transform Data. So now it loads that table from the website. And I realize I don't really want to use this column right here. So I'm going to click there and choose to remove that column. Also at the bottom, I notice that these two last rows are really total and average information, and I don't want those in my list either. So I'm going to choose this option to remove rows, and I'm going to say remove bottom rows. And it will ask me, how many rows do you want to remove? And I'm going to identify 2. And now you see that those have been trimmed off. So my data is ready for my BI report. I'm going to go here and save and apply my changes. Okay, and now my data is ready to use. And so I'm ready to save this and call it Ireland. And at this point now, I'm going to close the Power Query editor. So now I'm back at the canvas ready to build a Power BI report. You notice there's some items along here. If I click on this one, it actually shows me the data table or the underlying data that is available to me. And this top one is the actual report canvas. You'll notice to the far right here, it lists fields that are available for the report. And here's the table that I imported from the website. And the first thing I want to do is I want to create a bar chart that identifies, kind of ranks the population for the county. So I'm going to choose the county field and the population field. And it creates a bar graph showing the population. I also might be interested in knowing which counties are growing the fastest. And so I'll tell it that I want to create another visualization that includes the county and the change in population per increase per year. And I'll tell it that I want that to be a horizontal bar chart. And so County Longford, the fastest growing county in Ireland, according to this information. I might also be interested in which counties have the densest population, meaning the most people, per square kilometer, et cetera. So I'm going to go ahead and create a third one and say county and density, being the people per kilometer. And I'll also use a bar chart for that. And finally, I just want to see a distribution of the population in a pie chart. So I'll go over here and select county and population, but tell it that I want it to be a pie chart. And here's my report on Ireland based on information from the internet. As you can see, you can do that pretty quickly. Next, I want to show you an example of a Power BI report that is connected to project information. Here, for example, is a Power BI report that is connected to Microsoft Project for the Web. It's actually drilling in and looking at projects in my collection and giving me some indicators about my whole portfolio. You can see general items here, as well as a number of charts. In addition to this, I can see the whole group of them, or I can click on this particular project and see just the information about that project's health. So again, just another way to use a tool to help us predict issues before they happen and monitor the health of projects in our PMO. The next component that we'd like to look at in the Power Platform is Power Apps. What exactly is Power Apps? It's a low-code, no-code business application development platform. It helps us replace manual, time-consuming processes in situations where we don't have an off-the-shelf solution that we can buy, and we don't have budget to hire a programmer to be able to build the solution that we need. We can simply convert our team's expertise into building an app because this is made for citizen developers. You build your apps using drag and drop technology. And if you're used to working with Excel and formulas and expressions, you really won't have any problem diving into Power Apps. It uses much of the same level of sophistication. You can build web and mobile applications. also inside the Power App platform. Now, I do want to just address the notion of what a business application is. People who are using Power Apps and people who will be using apps that you build with Power Apps all have to have a Power App license. These are made for building applications within your organization to help you achieve greater success. What they are not is a platform for building applications that you might post on a web store somewhere that people can download and buy from you. That is not what this platform is all about. You can build from templates, or you can start new applications from scratch. There are essentially three types of applications that you can build inside of Power Apps. First is the Canvas app. For example, these are often single-purpose applications like checking out a piece of equipment or entering a PTO request. And they are what we call a pixel-perfect application, often designed for phones or tablets where you want every pixel to be in just a certain spot, and those are Canvas apps. Next is a model-driven app. Model-driven apps have their foundation in building a data structure. You are borrowing or connecting to a relational database or building a relational database, and then building out the screens and the views from the data model. These are often end-to-end type solutions as opposed to a single-purpose application. These would include things like a CRM system or an HRIS system, and even an inventory management system. And while it might not be quite as pixel perfect, it is very powerful, but you don't have as much control over where tables and columns appear on the screens. But you can also embed a Canvas app inside of a model-driven app as a widget when that is needed. And finally, the next type of app available is a portal app. These would be situations where you want to guide the user through several steps in an experience, such as registering for a course or entering a trouble ticket into your internal IT support system. And finally, you do want to be aware that there are several licensing options with Power Apps. There is a per app license, meaning that a user can have access to a single application, or a per user license, which allows the user to have access to unlimited apps. And then a portal license. So if you have a portal app, you can purchase a license that is rated by the number of sessions that are logged in or the number of page views. The per app option, of course, is provided for companies who are essentially making an entree perhaps into Power Apps. They're not sure if they want to use it for a variety of things, and so they might just want to be able to use it for a single app until they find that they have use for additional apps down the road. Let's take a moment and dive into Power Apps and look at an example of an application. I'm going to click on Apps, and I have a simple Canvas app called Asset Checkout. And here I'm going to tell it that I want to edit that application. All right, so here we have our Asset Checkout application. You can see along the side here, I have a variety of screens within the application. And this is designed for me to be able to access a repository of different assets and be able to check them out. Here is an example of the home screen. It has different items that can be checked out. And here's a way, of course, of filtering the items in the database. So I can look at just monitors or laptops and so on. There are several processes in this application. For example, I can review details. And so here's an example of the detail screen, the checkout screen, the screen for reserving a piece of equipment, and a confirmation screen so that once I have reserved a piece of equipment, it gives me some information about that piece of equipment. I'm going to just take a moment and play the application, meaning preview it, so you can see what it looks like. So here I am in the checkout screen. I can click on monitors, keyboards, and of course it lists the different items here. And it's not quite 100%, but if I want to check out this particular piece of equipment, for example, it tells me I have 2 of those left in stock. I go and look at that particular notebook. Yes, it's the one I want. I click on checkout. It asks me for my information, and I can tell it how many days I want to reserve it. and I'll say reserved for 12 days. Hit reserve, and it tells me that I have it reserved through the 30th of July. I can come back now to the collection of applications, and I just want to show you the vast array of resources available to you here. I am going to click on Create, and you'll notice that I can create a new app based on any of these elements. For example, I can tell it that I want to start with a table in the Dataverse and build a model-driven app, or I can come down here to a collection of templates, and I can click on any of these templates and allow them to help me with starting to build a new application. Quite convenient and helpful. Next, we want to take a look at the Power Automate component of the Power Platform. Power Automate allows us to boost business productivity to get more done by giving everyone the ability to automate organizational processes. And there are several different flavors of automation processes that we can do. We can have trigger actions, meaning that when a certain thing happens, we want it to be followed by another set of actions. For example, whenever I have a change happen to a planner board in Microsoft Planner, I want to distribute an update to all the people on the team who need to know about that. Or I have business process flows, for example, that can be run at a certain time or can be run manually whenever I need them, such as a process to check Twitter for a certain hashtag and find all of those tweets with that hashtag and log them into a SharePoint list. Or we can use robotic process automation, or RPA. This is designed to work with legacy systems that we might not be able to integrate with, the types of programs that don't have an application programming interface that's available to us, like old legacy systems or web pages when we need to scrape information from a web page that has to be used in our application, and so on. And finally, we can do process mining in Power Automate. This allows us to look at our processes and monitor how they're functioning, how they're working, and what the outcomes of many of those processes are. Okay, here we are in Power Automate, and I'm just looking at different topics here, and you'll notice across the top of the screen here, it gives us options for how we want to start the process. Here I can have an automated workflow that is triggered by an event, or I can manually trigger an event, or I can have it happen at a certain time, and other ways of triggering those. The process advisor is the ability to, again, do process mining to see how our processes are working. I mentioned earlier an example where I want to be able to find out whenever an update is made to a planner board, I want it to notify the appropriate team and post some information in Microsoft Teams about it. And you'll see an example of a template for just that type of process right here. Here's how we put this particular Power Automation together. When a change occurs in Microsoft Planner, it's going to update Office 365 and Microsoft Teams. It tells you here that the flow will connect to these applications and gives the credentials that it will be logged into those systems with. It asks me here to select a group that has an existing plan, and then which plan to monitor, meaning which of the planner boards, a team that needs to be notified when a change occurs, and which Microsoft Team channel do I want to be able to post an update to. So here's a great example of an automation that is triggered by a certain event. Next, I'm going to jump over here to templates and just show you another example of this. Let's say, for example, that I wanted to be able to update applications or deal with applications that are outside of Office 365. For example, I'm going to go here to search through different templates, and I'm going to look at Twitter. And so the platform interacts with Twitter, and I'm going to say, well, whenever I see tweets that have a certain hashtag, I want you to go through and find those tweets and put them on a SharePoint list for me. So whenever I desire, I can run this automation to go to Twitter again and find all of the tweets that have a certain hashtag and post those tweets to a SharePoint list for me to review later or to keep track of. The next component we're going to look at today is Power Virtual Agents, or the ability to build chatbots within the Power Platform. As it says here, we can easily build chatbots using a graphical interface without having to be an expert in artificial intelligence or natural language understanding, and all without writing any code. We can create bots with multiple topics and branching logic, and we have even the ability to hand off the conversation to an engagement application if a person needs to connect with an agent and so forth. Some possible uses of the virtual agents would be to have a project initiation process where people go to a website, it asks them a series of questions, and helps us gather information that they need to initiate a new project. Or we can have an agent for project support for regulatory questions. People would be able to engage with the chat and answer certain questions and be pointed to the right information to help them in their project management. We can also have things like responding to HR questions about benefits or policies, or even sales help and support. A whole variety of options and topics can be addressed by Power Virtual Agents. Here we are in Power Virtual Agents, and I'm just clicking on topics here, and you'll notice that it has a lot of training material already built into the system. This just helps you learn how to use this and do it effectively. You'll notice that there are trigger phrases that can go with different topics, and this allows you to build a conversation tree and build out logic branching so that people can follow through a process to accomplish what they need to. The newest member of the Power Platform is Power Pages. This provides us the ability to build client-facing websites with a low-code application process or low-code application platform. This is the one element of the Power Platform that is fully intended to be facing clients and customers outside of your organization. It comes with a large collection of templates, and you're able to publish sites for desktop use or mobile application use. It easily integrates with your other Power Platform apps and is extensible with many pro developer tools in the event that you do want to use code as opposed to the low-code approach. They spent a lot of time investing in extensive training resources within Power Pages, and it is a great revolutionary step. I believe it was just released at the end of May 2022. And some examples of websites that you might build could include things like having applications for government grants for programs, or collaborating with external partners. Or as you can see in this particular example on the screen, a website that allows you to register for school or explore different class options, or even a product information site to explain your company's or your organization's products and services. Right now, you can obtain a free trial of Power Pages by going to powerpages.microsoft.com. So again, why the Power Platform for next generation project management and development? Well, looking at the Power Platform, Power BI, of course, gives us the ability to have insights into things like our project's health so that we can avoid challenges or deal with risks before they develop into a problem. Power Apps to build low-code applications by citizen developers, avoiding needing the use of programmers to be able to get the solutions that we need. Power Automate to automate all kinds of processes, and Power Virtual Agents to build chatbots that allow our project management offices to serve particular needs that our stakeholders might have. And then Power Pages to create client-facing portals to serve, again, project stakeholders and any partners that might be outside of our organization. Thank you for watching today. We want to invite you to visit the Advisicon Academy at advisicon.thinkific.com. And of course, we invite you to reach out to our team to find out how we can help you and your organization with current and future projects. We look forward to seeing you again on a future webinar and hope you'll have a great day.